The Jurassic World Velocicoaster at Universal's Islands of Adventure has been one of the most anticipated attractions of the past decade. It's been the spotlight of social media for years, from straight obsession of the attraction to sharp critiques and criticisms before anyone had even stepped aboard the trains. This new thrill ride has now offered rides to the public, and buzz around the roller coaster is quickly taking off. This is the Jurassic World Velocicoaster Review. The Jurassic World Velocicoaster at Universal Studios Orlando, Florida Islands of Adventure theme park is an Intamin-built roller coaster that takes up a large portion of the waterfront at the park. The 4-inversion double-launched attraction starts with a 0 to 50 mph launch in 3 seconds and completes its first half around a large rock structure with turns and inversions winding around the raptor paddock area before launching from 40 to 70 into the faster portion of the ride. Here you'll find larger elements such as the 100-foot-long stall and the 360-degree barrel roll finish just above the water, dubbed the Mosasaurus roll. When reviewing a coaster, I like to break down the attraction into different categories. 5 key points that I personally feel are vital when assessing a roller coaster and searching for that perfect ride. I'll start off with the technical portion of this ride. The Jurassic World Velocicoaster is a new-gen Intamin attraction that promises smooth rides and high thrills with just a comfortable lap bar restraint. Riders sit further off of the track than most other coaster models, resulting in a heartline that is much higher off the track itself. The heartline is the center of the rider's body, as situated above the coaster track, or where their heart lies, hence the name Heartline. The rolls and elements on coasters are usually based around this line to give riders a more comfortable ride, and can also be used to design elements to be more thrilling in areas with reverse heartlining. Without designing around the rider's body, there would be elements that would be impossible to ride through. This high heartline on the Velocicoaster results in elements that look very drawn out when watching them from off the ride, most notably the very wide-looking heartline roll. This massive ride feels super scaled down while you are on it because of this higher heartline, which is a great thing. Elements feel quicker, more snappy, and by the end it really feels like you are on a ride made by Intamin. It's incredible just how fast it feels as you travel from the peak of the top hat all the way to the edge of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter across the park. This coaster has a great length and uses the plot of land perfectly with no wasted space. This ride is very smooth, not brand new B&M Hyper Smooth, but nothing major that takes anything away from the ride. Sit in the front if you want the absolute smoothest experience. Throughput is also very high on the ride thanks to a double-sided locker system before the loading platform, so loose articles aren't a hindrance, and 4 train operations to get as many riders aboard as possible each hour. Forces throughout the ride are comfortable with a good mix of moderate positive Gs and negative G forces, the right amount of intensity for an exciting ride. The Velocicoaster is a thrilling ride with a great mix of elements ranging in intensity and speed to give riders a little taste of everything. The ride truly does rise in excitement level all the way through to the end. Some elements hit stronger than others in varying seats, such as the first dive loop, which feels completely different in the front versus the more tame rear of the train at this point. The opposite could be said about the drop off of the top hat, where the back reigns king. The Heartline Roll finale is really where this ride shines. The speed and quick upside down moment is quite insane, and the water just feet below you only adds to the excitement here. One thing I will say that I do feel is missing from this layout is a large sustained airtime moment. Most moments during the ride are quick ejector pops of negative Gs, but given the space and the way that Universal wanted to frame certain aspects of their theme park, like Hogwarts Castle and the Jurassic Park Discovery Center, there's not many areas they likely could have fit a sustained negative G moment. But this ride really does have a high fun factor with just the right amount of holy crap moments. Each element really brings its own thing during the ride, and they all differ from one another. And while it's good to have a good mix of elements, this can mess with the flow of the ride a bit and the pacing as you traverse the course. When watching this ride from Pathways, you can clearly see that it sells itself as a ride that begins gracefully and then quickly takes a turn into the insane once that second launch hits. This is mostly true, but there are certain moments that stick out more than others during the entire layout that are much more notable than others. And while riding, I found myself looking further forward into the layout, anticipating these insane moments to come. The first dive loop, the mini Stangle dive, that second launch, the stall, the twisted airhill, and that Mosasaurus roll. When there are elements like this that stick out as being incredible, you notice an odd break in pacing that isn't found on perfectly paced rides, like Wonder Woman at Fiesta Texas, where every element is totally nuts, or the more tame Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens Tampa, where each element is quite tame, but they all blend together nicely in a very cohesive layout. Velocicoaster has a mix of both insane and tame as you traverse the course of the ride. There are a few of those elements that are noticeably balls to the wall insane, and couple those nutty extreme elements with all the other good elements, and you have a bit of an odd flow. Some elements are taken with great speed, while others seem to trickle on by. I don't want to call these filler sections as they aren't terrible, but these moments do exist, and it causes small breaks in that pure adrenaline that seasoned coaster nuts are searching for. However, when looking at the downward S-turn, for example, this is actually a nice moment to take in the raptor statues that surround you within the paddock. The launches on the Jurassic World Velocicoaster aren't as initially kicky as some Intamin LSM launches either, but they are still fast and thrilling while being very smooth. Adrenaline builds throughout the first half of the ride and then really kicks in during that second launch, where the top speed really is a crazy thrill. Off of the top hat, you know you're in for a wild ride from that point forward, with high speeds through the rest of the experience, and even a shockingly fast brake run before the final brake run. You really come into the station with a great burst of adrenaline and that what just happened feeling of shock as your restraints fly back open. The 6-car trains are a bit odd in the very tight layout of the first half, as they can't traverse very tight maneuvers, so they really start to shine in the second half of the ride and work nicely through those faster, larger elements. Everyone is sure to either be smiling from pure excitement or in complete shock of what just happened. All of the amazing theming surrounding the attraction also helps with pacing, with near misses adding to the experience and sense of speed. The theming enhances every aspect of this ride and hits strong before you even board this thing. One of the best themed coasters found on the planet, the Velocicoaster takes no shortcuts in giving riders the best possible Jurassic World experience ever. Themed after a roller coaster at the Jurassic World theme park, there's no tricks of boarding a fictional vehicle. This ride is themed to a roller coaster. Claire Deering and Owen Grady are talking about the physical roller coaster you are about to board during the pre-show and queue. The actual ride is pictured, and the layout is found on multiple screens throughout the queue. This adds to the immersion, and you see portions of what you are about to experience before you even step foot into the station. It creates familiarity before riding, and the storyline just makes sense and is easy to follow. Owen thinks it's a terrible idea to put a coaster in the Raptor paddock, and honestly, after watching the movies and then going through the queue of this ride, you really do feel like you're about to do something insane. It's perfectly presented and the ideal amount of cheesiness you could ask for out of a theme park attraction. No tricks of everything is fine and then something going wrong. You are boarding a roller coaster where you know there's inherent risk before boarding. What is lacking is sound. There needs to be more of an epic score or fanfare in the station and as you depart the station, because the build-up before the first launch is just downright disappointing compared to, say, the Hulk. Hopefully this is something that's added at a later date. There's tons of near misses with some of the best rock work ever seen, and the terrain usage is refreshing to see around the flat land of Florida. The lighting adds so much to this ride as well, with it being extremely satisfying as it times up with the train in launch and brake areas. There's even a world's first effect during the queue, showing you that they really went full bore during the theming process. It's worth noting that similar to Hagrid's Magical Creatures motorbike, it appears that the single rider line will miss most of the full queue experience if they choose to take that route. The Velocicoaster is a uniquely themed experience with nothing else like it. The first new generation Intamin Blitz model to open in the USA, Velocicoaster is something that most visitors have never experienced or seen before. It felt like no other coaster type that I have ridden, and it's refreshing to feel a ride that is so different from anything else. The re-rideability is at a perfect level. The short show scenes have slight differences between rides, and the intensity is at a level that most will be able to re-ride if they want to. The elements are fresh with differences in shaping compared to other steel coasters, which provide you with feelings like you've never felt before. There's multiple elements that are shaped in such a way that the only place you can experience them is on the Jurassic World Velocicoaster. Velocicoaster sets a new standard for what roller coasters are meant to be. One-of-a-kind elements, a pure first fun half, building up into an insane second half, and sections of track that genuinely seem like they wouldn't have existed 5 years ago. With this score, the Velocicoaster easily sits in the top 1% of roller coasters, and I think that it's going to be there to stay for a while. This coaster holds a special place in my heart, and the ride experience truly attempts to check every box. Is it the best coaster in the world? There are coasters out there with better layouts, others with better theming, and others with more adrenaline. But Velocicoaster is really the only one that tries to check every box. A good storyline, nice intensity, great thrill, and wow factor from start to finish. It truly is the perfect package, and you really need to get yourself down to Orlando to try out this roller coaster. Viewers of the channel voted on Instagram, and after 600 plus votes, the ride was given a 9.19 out of 10, just under Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, which had a 9.24 out of 10. You can continue my analysis of Velocicoaster with more footage and an element by element breakdown by clicking the link in the description or comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, see ya.